There is yet again a veritable potpourri, a pastiche, a myriad, a mosaic, a slumgullion, a gumbo, a tapestry, a wonderful admixture of so many things to talk about, so many topics, so many areas today that are beyond fascinating. And yet, for the most part, they are looked at, I'm sorry to say, in a very surface level area. And much is missed. Much is missed specifically because of the fact that there is so much depth to this. And if people were smart, if people were wise, and if people just enjoyed thinking more, they would dive into this. And I hope you recognize the theme. Americans really don't like to think. It's painful. It's like exercise to them or something. There's nothing fun about it. They like to react, but they don't like to think. Reacting is very easy. They don't want to just mull it over because there's just so much to discuss. So we're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about one of the biggest myths in today's the Paul Revere ride. No, it's Israel Bissell. This has been one of my concerns for the longest time. How important and how critical this man was, who was basically just sidelined by virtue of history. Because remember, if we have fake news, if our news is fake, just imagine what our history is. I mean, think about that. So in any event, my friends, have a great day. Stand by. We're going to be taking this. Make sure you are subscribed to Lionel Nation. And make sure you're paying attention, very, very close attention to what's going on right now. Make sure that you like this video because the metrics help tremendously by putting us into the HOV lane. And in any event, what I ask is that you pay very, very close attention to this, a word from our sponsor. Are you drowning in debt, struggling with credit cards or medical bills or personal loans? Well, you're not alone. There's help, real help available right now. National Debt Relief is one of the top-rated debt relief companies in America, helping thousands of individuals like you break free from overwhelming financial burdens. For anyone owing over $10,000, National Debt Relief may be able to reduce that debt by up to half or even more. No bankruptcy, no new loans, just a smarter, faster way to financial freedom. Here's how it works. Step 1, you submit the form at No Debt with Lionel. Just go there right now. Step 2, a representative will call within minutes to discuss personalized options. In step 3, they'll create an affordable plan tailored to your individual budget and timeline. Many clients become debt-free in as little as 24 to 48 months, paying less than they owe and avoiding years of stress and interest. And the consultation is completely free with no obligation. So what are you waiting for? Why keep dodging calls and watching interest stack up? So go right now to NoDebtWithLionel.com. That's NoDebtWithLionel.com. This could be the turning point, the step toward peace of mind, control, and a fresh start. NoDebtWithLionel.com. Go now. Today has been called the 250th anniversary of the ride of Paul Revere. And if you've ever watched me or paid attention to me, you will know that is a myth. That did not happen. I mean, it happened, but not the way you think it happens. What is important to understand is while Paul Revere is celebrated for his midnight ride on April the 18th, 1775, where he warned that the British were coming, the true unsung hero was Israel Bissell. This is a lesser-known patriot. Mr. Bissell rode for 4 days, and covered over 300 miles from Massachusetts to Connecticut. I always heard to Philadelphia, alerting militias of the British attack. But unlike Paul Revere, who was briefly detained, Bissell's ride was more successful and logistically vital. Paul Revere became a legend thanks to Henry Wadsworth Longfellow's famous poem, which, as you know, pretty much just created the myth of him, of a rhyme. You know, listen, my children, and you shall hear the midnight ride of Paul Revere. Yeah. Today, remember who the real hero was. It was Israel Bissell. And but again, it just goes to show you that there are so many things that we say. And remember, Americans don't like history, don't care for this. They don't watch this. This is like, okay, whatever. No, it's huge. There's no craving of knowledge. There's no craving of any of this. And that's just the way we are because we are lazy. It's true. And if you didn't know this, well, you're not paying attention. But that's the way we are. It's kind of the way we think. So consequently, a lot of stuff that has been provided to you on social media platforms are very, very easy. Very, very easy to understand, very easy to grasp. Nothing too deep. People don't. And by the way, investigation and research, never. Absolutely not. If it's not on YouTube or whatever the particular medium is, it comes to you. You're not going to go look for it. What I mean Americans don't. They just don't. And it's something which I hope one day we'll get around. If you had a sense of kind of an insatiable desire and an insatiable I don't know what the word is, move, there's something that draws you into this, you would oh my God. But I waste my time. It doesn't matter. Life's what it is. Now, before we begin, in no particular order, and this is very, very critical, in no particular order, there is something that is happening right now, and we'll get to all of this eventually, but there is something that is happening right now which is very, very frightening. Snapchat, in particular, is harming children at an industrial scale. There are internet reports revealing 10,000 monthly sextortion cases and widespread abuse. And despite what I thought was the awareness, Snap Incorporated has failed to act, exposing teens to drugs and cyberbullying and predators. And the damning expose that is out right now, Mrs. L at Lynn's Warriors, follow her, by the way, on YouTube and on X, demands there to be an urgent action to protect our youth. But this doesn't scratch the surface. It doesn't get anyone's attention for reasons I don't understand. It just doesn't do it. That's another thing. It's like, what gets us angry? The best thing to do, if ever you're doing something, is talk about racism or something simple, or somebody to hate. For example, Obama. It's interesting. That gets people's attention, but not this. AI and AGI are going to change things to the point where we will never be able to get back. AGI is what I have said is the existential threat to our country and our world. AGI is an existential threat. Not nuclear bombs or... Nope. This. It can destroy everything. And because people don't understand it, they think like, what do you mean, like a robot or something? No. So this is going on right now. And we are going to be turning over kids. Oh my God. When we used to talk about predators, people would always think of the guy in the white van. The guy in the one who just would snatch a kid. And those are there, but not like here. The number one source of predation for your child is the internet and your child's gaming. Now, next, this is another great one. And people will appreciate this one because it's easy to understand. You have very, very unlikable people and these horribly fake women in this Blue Origin nonsense, or astronauts, NOTS. This could I like when they say this is a conspiracy theory. Let me try again and see if we can explain this again. This is not a conspiracy theory. It is an accusation of it being fake. That is not a conspiracy theory. A conspiracy theory would be, did Lauren Sanchez and Gayle King and Katy Perry conspire with each other or other people? And that's the issue. That is the issue. Do you see what I'm saying? That is the issue. Not, and this is important to understand this, not whether it's fake, but a conspiracy would be in the relationship among the people, because conspiracy is the opposite of a sole actor, lone actor. Do you hear what I'm saying? You hear what I'm saying? Good. That's an incredible issue. And they cannot believe, nor do they care what you think. They don't understand. You just don't get it. Now they're talking about Kim Kardashian, which, by the way, remember this. And see if you can remember this. All right, I'm going to say this. Research, look around. There's so much available on the internet. Bezos, Lauren Sanchez, and Kim Kardashian. Follow that one. That's your mission. You'll love it. If you go deep, if you pay attention to this, it's right up your alley. It is, the accusations are, as you can imagine, fascinating. Yesterday, have you ever watched Lefties Losing It on the Australian, whatever? This one, she's very good. She saw a picture of George Clooney with his dyed hair for the role that he's in called Good Night and Good Luck. And she said, oh, I can't do it. I'm Australian. But she's saying something to the effect of, look at this horrible dye job. Oh my God. Well, it's for his play that he is on. Do not be surprised if he has been given, or if he has been, for lack of a better word, promised something he has always wanted. And that is, of course, legitimacy, respectability. Don't be surprised if he's been promised a Tony for this. Now, you might say to yourself, wait a minute. Are you saying the Tonys are fixed? Tonys, Oscars, Golden Globes, name it. If you haven't figured this one out right away, if you haven't seen this, remember last time when that trans actress said something about, or that was contrary to the trans theme? Did you see that? I did. And what did they do to her? Oh, gone. Just like that. Her worth as an actress or actor or whatever it was meant nothing because she dared to veer from the official narrative. It is so phony. And it's the last vestige of a time that doesn't exist. You see, the radical left, or the left, they live in a time capsule. In many respects, they're like a lot of people we know. They're kind of fused. They live in a world where people say, I watch Fox News and that's it. And okay, fine. And you're thinking, no, it's a little bit more complicated than that. But, well, that's okay for me. And there are other people who believe that, George Clooney is whatever. George Clooney now trying to explain how and why he basically promoted the fact that Joe Biden was somehow, worthy or with it. To make a long story short. And now he realizes he's a lapdog. He's their boy. He's their manservant. He does what they tell him to do. And what they told him to do was, you're going to come out and you're going to speak on behalf. You're going to say that Joe Biden is as sharp as a marble. And then when they said, okay, time's up, then you're going to take credit for this letter we wrote, because you're going to be our lapdog. You're going to be our boy. You're going to be our message. Now, meanwhile, remember, the rest of the country doesn't care anything about George Clooney. Doesn't know anything about George Clooney. They don't know he's the spokesperson. Couldn't care less about what George Clooney says. But they told him, listen, you play your cards right, and we'll get you that Tony. And if you really play your cards right, maybe that Oscar, because that's what he wants. But what he doesn't understand is that he doesn't matter anymore. He doesn't matter. Next, we'll talk about this notion of they're calling the FSU shooter a white racist or supremacist. And this is the thing which is the most important. And I want you to do this today, you being an apostle. First, I'm not going to say his name. I'm not going to show his picture. I'm not going to do any of that stuff. It doesn't make any sense. There's no reason to do that. But we do it time after time. And we wonder, why do people do it in this country? One of the reasons why we do it is because we always promote who these people are. We do it. Now, here's the question. What is a white supremacist? Now, remember, try asking people this today when you're out saying, let me ask him, Dave, have you heard about this? What do you think a white supremacist is? Do you think a white supremacist should be somehow verboten or should be, I don't know, should a white supremacist be prohibited from being a white supremacist? What does that mean? Now, a white supremacist, what I do normally, and what I invite you to do is, let's always start off with, what do I always tell you? The definition. The definition. So let's go to ChatGPT, OpenAI, Grok is good. What is a white, this is my question, supremacist? And let's do it in, how many words would you like? Let's do 150 words. Let's don't get something, because it'll go as long as you want. But to give you an idea of what the word means, okay? And you ask each other, what's the question? A white supremacist is defined as someone who believes that white people are inherently superior to other races and should dominate society politically, culturally, and economically. This ideology is rooted in racism and often promotes segregation and immigration views. This is ChatGPT. And the belief that multiculturalism threatens Western civilization. Does that? I guess. Does that make somebody a white supremacist? Anyway, white supremacists may advocate for policies or movements that aim to preserve what they see as white identity or European heritage. White mainstream society overwhelmingly rejects these views. Some individuals or fringe groups still hold them, occasionally using violence or intimidation to advance their beliefs. It's important to note that this term is often misused by media or political figures to smear individuals who may hold conservative or nationalist views unrelated to racial superiority. Labeling someone a white supremacist without evidence can be deeply defamatory and contributes to the erosion of honest political discourse in America. Accusations should be made carefully based on facts, not narrative. Isn't that great? Now, what is black supremacist? Or what is it? Let's see what they say. Let's say 100 words. That one's too long. Let's see what it says about black supremacist. A black supremacist is someone who believes that black people are inherently superior to other races and should hold dominant or status. Like white supremacy, it's rooted in racial superiority, but inverts the hierarchy. Black supremacist ideologies may reject integration, promote racial separatism, or express hostility towards non-black groups, particularly white people. While far less institutionalized or widespread, black supremacy has appeared in the rhetoric of certain fringe groups or individuals. As with all forms of racism, it undermines unity, blah, 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 blah. Now, here's the question. What does it have to do with any kind of shooting? Well, this feller said some racist things. He might have said some terrible things. He might have actually possessed certain types of thoughts, which we call racist. So are you saying that is why he shot those people? Well, I'm not saying it. Well, if this person was, let's say, trans or non-binary, or wanted to issue, as in other cases, by virtue of the manifestos, wanted to hurt or harm white people, is that of course is kept quiet. That's not even brought up. That is not even brought up. Do you understand? Do you understand what we're talking about? See, nobody will talk about that. Nobody will ask the questions. Nobody will discuss it. Nobody will ever discuss what that means. Now, here's the other story. Do you know how many white supremacists there are out there? I don't know. Is it against the law? No, it's not against the law. Are there a lot of people who think that white people are bad? Yep. How many of them are actual shooters? None. I mean, to the point where it's statistically, I mean, insignificant. It doesn't even mean anything. It doesn't matter. How many people do you think are in the Aryan Nation in prison? Oh, a bunch of those. How many of them have been involved in shootings like this? None. Or statistically insignificant. How many of them have hurt? Well, maybe in prison, maybe it's a different story, but on the outside, once they get out, the Klan. How many Klan members, as of late, or whatever iteration of the Klan is, how many of them today have done this? None. So what difference does it make? What difference does it make? What if I found out that statistically speaking, there's a weird story that a large majority of those individuals who were themselves, let's say, involved in shooting, were members of AAA. You know, the car club? All of them AAA members. I know you're going to laugh. What if I said they're all a member of AAA? What does that mean? Just AAA, they all drive cars. This is correlation in cars. You have to ask friends. Remember, be a disciple. Be an apostle of truth. Ask them, is it against the law, or should it be against the law, for you to have this particular thought? And the answer I think most people would say is, well, no, because why? Because it's a thought crime. So what does it mean when somebody says, I don't know what it means? What does it mean when I don't know what it means? We don't know what it means. We don't know. We have no idea. We have no idea. No idea. But they will say this. Number two, do you think sometimes people will write things down when they decide they're going to take a gun, they're going to start shooting? Are they crazy? I don't know if they're crazy. You might want to say unhinged. Because that word doesn't make any sense either, because I know people who are crazy and unhinged, they don't do anything. I know people who are absolutely nuts. You can see them walking around, they don't hurt anybody. They've never been arrested. They yell. They might look scary. They may not bathe. Do you see where these names come in? It means nothing. And they're going to somehow say, well, he was a Trump supporter. Years ago, they found, I forget what it was. They found somebody, there was a shooter, and they found Rush Limbaugh's book or something. You're always going to find somebody who believes in something. You're always going to find somebody who said something or did something, especially when they've been involved in something as crazy as this. So I just reject it out of hand because of the fact that it doesn't really make any difference. And if you really want to deal with why do people do this, you got to ask yourself, well, there's so few. Here is the question. Let me ask you, what is the main reason why people... There are other countries with more guns and more violence and more, because you really got to look at statistics. When you say, wow, more kids have been affected or hurt by guns than anything else. Really? Yes. Oh, kids have? Yes, they have. Okay. And you ask the question, well, have they in any way exhibited any kind of behavior other than, well, they have, and they've used guns, and kids today have a greater chance of being harmed by virtue of guns. Well, most of that, believe it or not, has to do with self-inflicted. Nobody wants to talk about that either. So they will use the entire spectrum of gun use and the like. So the question then becomes this, and this is critical to note. What is it, and this is important, what is it that makes somebody do this? Because that's really what people want to know. Why is this? It never happens. And this is at a college campus. This is not a grade school, which is a different story altogether, completely different. But why does this happen? Steve says, no father at home. So therefore, look at the number of kids, Steve, who have, let's say, no fathers at home. Do they shoot? No. 12% of the population, but makes up 60% of the portion of the population that seems pretty powerless, sitting in a cage. By the way, where is this statistic? Any idea? No. We have this idea that we always say, well, 12% of the population are black, is what you're saying. Well, we're not. That's not here. Varya says mental illness. Is it mental illness? Is mental illness? Why is he mentally ill? Is it possible for you to say, I'm going to go and I'm going to shoot somebody right now? I don't hear voices. I have a job. I have friends. I want to do this. You might want to protest. You might want to put on a keffiyeh. You might want to protest climate change. I want to protest this way using a gun. Am I crazy? Not necessarily. Greg Williams says weakness. What does that mean? One could say it's the opposite. To do what he did, you're not weak at all. It's culture. Someone writes, it's culture. That's the difference. But all these other people have the culture. All these other folks are a member of the same culture. They don't do this. They don't do this. What is it? What is it? This is the thing. We just love to say things. And I'm saying it's not that it's baseless, but there's no evidence of any of this. We just love this. We love to say this. Well, it's because probably kids say, well, the violent video games. Well, it's because there's not religion. And because we don't eat together. We used to, when parents, and there's no prayer in school. See, when there was prayer in school, we never did this. And because there was no prayer in school, obviously removing prayer in school causes this. But there's very few people doing this in the first place. Yeah, you're right. If no prayer in school meant something, you'd be seeing this all the time. Why? I like this. Testosterone is way down. Another myth. If testosterone is down, you would see less of this. Testosterone is used as in many respects as hyperaggression. So that argument doesn't make any sense. Glamorized. Cultural decline. So went Rome, so will go Romerica. No reasons for that. Cultural decline, it's one person. Do you see what you're doing? You're just you're trying so hard to find a reason for this. There's no reason for this. The forgotten golden rule. Well, yeah. You wonder, well, there's probably, that doesn't answer it. Come on. Rather be convicted by 12 than carried by 6 or half a dozen. No, you don't. That's an old phrase people always use. Dial it down a bit. You'd be happy to meet me in an hour. You'd be happy to meet. I don't know what this means. SSRIs cause deviant behavior. No, they don't. SSRIs do not cause deviant behavior. Absolutely not. Again, you see this? Because this is when you are a member of the conspiracy club and the conspiratorium, and what you do is you have this handbook and you say, we all do this thing. SSRIs, especially when they are withdrawn, are linked to murder-suicide. This is by virtue of the own warning. So people will extrapolate that into saying that causes this behavior. Doesn't cause it at all. Do you know how many people are on SSRI that have been? It's never happened. Again, we are a country of bumper stickers and playbooks and cookie cutter, echo chamber, playbook, phrases. We just say these things. Has nothing to do with any of this stuff. There is no definition for crazy. Yes, there is. Yes, there is. Greg says fake news. What about fake news? Another thing, too, is you don't even have to explain. Just write stuff. And that's good enough because we don't even, the idea was so funny is that we have this thing called a chat, live chat. Nobody writes anything. I mean, no sentences or anything like that. Cut Up Chatter says, you can't get sanity from a society dependent on drugs, video, and insane fantasy as a means of coping. Japan would vary that. Japan has had some of the most, they have had gaming rooms, they have had some of the most violent videos you can imagine, and their pornography. Their adultery rate is through the roof. They have different cultural norms. Japan doesn't do this. Many countries don't do this. They have the same thing. They have the same thing. Videos, withdrawals. They do the same thing. This is it. Nobody has a question. They're a bunch of freaks. I don't know what that means. Steve just threw that one out and said, I don't know what to say. I'll just throw something out. Really? They're freaks? Maybe he didn't like Thursdays. Funny. See, this is the idea of I want to be a wit more than anything else. That's not it. Come on, I'm serious. This is good. I'm reading your words. This is our live chat. A lot of times people are just ignored. You watch a lot of these folks. If you watch Judge Knapp or whoever it is, they don't even look at the comments. They don't even it's like they don't care. I do. This is a great Friday so far. Isn't Japan pretty much a homogeneous culture? Yeah, they also eat less meat. What does that mean? What does that mean? A lot of times they're more homogeneous than you think. What about cultures that have honor killings, where fathers will kill a daughter who either besmirches, and then of course we can always blame Islam because people swear they've read the Quran and they understand it. One sick bastard. Humanity is an overrated species. I respect you and hope that you care. Zero immigration in Japan. See, but he lives here. He's an American citizen. What does immigration have to do with anything? Nothing. Hey, Lionel, did you receive my email? I did not. I did not. Let me check. I did not receive my email. Your email, I do not believe. Let me see. No, I did not. I did not. Lionel at lionelmedia.com. Please always say hello. See, this is fascinating. This is, look at this. Allah loves its terrorists. IT''S. No, he doesn't. Deport. He's born here. I said it a few days ago. Didn't see it. Japan doesn't make foreigners comfy. It's weird. Again, this is just, I don't know. Just say this. Try this. I don't know. Some element in society has driven them mad. If it's anyone's guess, it seems driven. There's one person. What are you talking about? I don't understand this. It's only one. This doesn't happen. And we're just very powerful demons. Do you think demons aren't very effective either because it's one person? You see, people are just saying, not everything has an answer that is great for radio or platforms or right wing or left wing. It doesn't matter. There are things that don't matter. Not everything does. Christian Jana says, thank you for your interacting. I've seen those others and it's not as nice as here. I've seen, yes. Well, I appreciate that. Listen, everybody's got their own thing, but I always wonder, nobody even talks to the people because I think you're the most interesting. Okay, it's just America is at fault. No, that's not it. No. Look at this. Schools including, I like this. Sean says, schools including colleges are not serious about security, provided these are not government operations. This is, how are you going to be secure at a college campus? How are you going to be secure at anything? You're going to have what? Metal detectors at guns? How? It doesn't matter. Ricardo says, just for being you, coffee on me. Thank you, Ricardo. What are we trying to say here? I'm telling you, there is no answer. There's no answer. It just happens. I'll tell you one way to do it, which is important. One thing to do is by virtue of the fact that we always give the name of the person, a picture of the person, where the person's from, social media platform, we lionize and provide this kind of an apotheosis, this deification, this beatification, this elevation of the person within groups of people who are trying desperately to find some form of people who are trying to find desperately some form of recognition. So I do know that. I do know that. Some people, it's funny. Have you ever had people with dogs and they come home and the dog, let's say, messes up the rug or something? And then hours later, the person comes home and takes a rolled up newspaper and hits the dog or puts the dog's nose in the deposition of whatever, and then hits the dog. That's always been my favorite. Say, what are you doing? I'm teaching the dog. No, you're not. No, you're not. Well, no. What are you doing? You're teaching the dog, number one, that you're going to come out of nowhere. It's kind of like when you spank kids. They don't understand this cause and effect thing like you think. You would think they would, but they don't. And if they do, it's too late or whatever it is. But it's just this weird thing. Here's what I'm telling you. If everybody agreed, Fox News, everybody agreed, we don't ever put, just like an NPC kind of a thing, just that gray face. The next person who does this, we don't know anything about it. Man, woman, black, white, nothing. We say nothing. And of course, there's going to be people on the news, on the internets, who are going to be doing this. But let's just assume, hypothetically, assume arguendo versus innuendo, which is an Italian suppository, but assume arguendo for the sake of argument, that nobody was mentioned. And this happened 2 or 3 times, you would see these numbers disappear. Because if you're going to shoot somebody up and nobody mentions your name, what's the point? What's the point? If you truly are a white supremacist or a white racist or whatever it is, and nobody even mentions your name, what is the point of doing this in the first place? What is the point? That's the critical aspect of it. And you can point all you want to things like, where they're from and the family, and it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything at all. Not in the least. It doesn't even mean anything remotely similar to what's going on. There's no reason for this. We don't know this. I asked a question before and I said, what about serial killing? What causes that? We have probably more in this country, and one of the reasons why, I believe, is that we revere them. We've always, ever since, Jack the Ripper, there's always been, but we're different here in this country. We pull more for Hannibal Lecter than other people, Dexter. It's kind of who we are a little bit. We are, the serial killers are. But what causes them? I don't know. They said that people who are involved in serial killers, as you know, are, how do I say this? They are oftentimes, or for the most part, serial killers, when their kids are involved in enuresis or bedwetting, teasing small animals, lighting fires, and arson. Those are the big 3, right? Okay. There are other people who don't represent the 3, and yet some will have all of those or have one of them, and they're not serial killers. That's correlation versus cause. What makes it? Why aren't, this is good too, why aren't women serial killers? Is it testosterone? And somebody said before, low testosterone. No, low testosterone would be the opposite effect. See, we get on these crazy things. Everybody now is, there's no testosterone or low T. What do you want? Well, my low T. What do you want? We've got these poor men feeling that, my God, my testosterone's on fumes. I'll never forget this one doctor. It was so interesting. We were somewhere. He's a friend of mine. And they were talking about it. He goes, I don't know if I should have my testosterone checked. He said, you got a beard? You shave? Yeah. He says, you're fine. That was it. He says, what do you want? What do you want? Well, I just think that my testosterone is low, and that's why my libido is low. And that, oh, well, you're just talking yourself into it. What do you want to do? Jack it up? Want to be like these chidrulos on YouTube, walking around looking like fools? You see, we know just a little bit about it. It's like the seed oil thing. People are crazy about seed oils all of a sudden. Bobby Kennedy Jr. has people drinking methylene blue. They don't know why. Remember silver? They don't know why they're doing it. They just do. They don't know anything that's a fad. Charlie says, our children are not taught to respect life. They're indoctrinated with entitlement. Their schools have no discipline. Culture celebrates evil. My point is, it's not a bumper sticker problem. Charlie, thank you for this. There are countries with poverty so great, so horrible, poverty so bereft, people so absent, the most minor indoor plumbing, and they don't even have names and faith in schools, and they can't read. They don't do this. They don't do this. They have stronger family ties than we do. So what does that mean? And there are other places as well. Most of the time, the real people, the real I don't want to say the real victims, but the people who suffer from this the most, they don't do anything. You see what we're doing? We're just throwing things out. We're saying things that we like. There's no respect for property anymore. There's no respect for law and order. It's because of this liberal mentality. You see, how do you expect people to live in a society when they don't even know what a man or a woman is, when there's gender dysphoria? We just say things. We just say things. That sounds good, doesn't it? Sure does. That's good. I don't know. Why does a senator care about a killer El Salvadorian, this Kilmar? Why? Good luck with that one. Good luck. Look at him. Why? Why? Nothing. We're just, that's what, you know what Fred says, spitballing. Absolutely. None of this. We're just sitting around a room and we're just big table and we're saying, what do you think? There's nothing you can do. A cause means, okay, if I get rid of this or add this, something will go away. For example, if I said, cigarettes cause lung cancer. Okay. And I can snap my fingers and ban cigarettes. Then next year, there should be either no cancer, no lung cancer, or a significant drop, or whatever that period of time is for it to. What if there isn't? You know, people have gotten cancer from cigarettes, but what if we eliminate cigarettes from the society and nothing happens? No significant drop. What do we do? What does that mean? I don't know. We used to have more. Do you know how many of you folks used to hunt when you were a kid? You might be older people do that. There used to be here. I remember somebody here in New York who was a member of a rifle club. He claims he took a rifle with him on a subway to school. Now, I don't know if that's true, but it's a great idea. Some kids would take their 22s in the old days, certain schools, and they would take them and they would rabbit hunt or they would squirrel hunt or do some kind of hunting after the fact. You aware of that? They would bring their rifles to school and put them in the back of the school. And then afterward, they take their rifle and go hunt squirrels or during deer season or whatever the heck it is. Happened all the time. Claudia used to hunt ducks. I make my own chicken stock. That's good. Rifles range in Boy Scouts. Yeah. They never did. Nobody said, hey, wait a minute, I've got a rifle. You know what? That girl turned me down, or I don't like this, or I don't feel good, my self-respect. I'm going to shoot the school up. They didn't do that. So tell me, why? Why? Look at this. This is good. Lionel, Who got to you? We know the U.S. government is responsible for all of it. What do they have on you? Were you bought off? Are you stashing away millions? Yes. That's a good one, too. By the way, you got to get better at that. If you're going to be a troll, that's not it. That's just not it. I see it all the time. There are people who really were good, really, really good at this. I want to work with you, and I appreciate that, but you got to work this thing up. You got to work this thing through. You got that? You got that? Let me remind you also that today, or tomorrow, I get this confused, 2 a.m. to 6 tomorrow, do overnights on WABC, which is just, oh my God. It's like this, but with callers, kind of the same ideas. This is a little bit different, but I'm going to put them to the same, not Socratic approach, but ask them specifically, what do you mean? What do you mean by this? Now, today is Good Friday. What does Good Friday mean? This is the high holy day, this period, Easter for Christianity, period. Absolutely, positively, 100%. This is it, not Christmas. You would think the birth of Christ. No, this is it. And the difference between Easter by Catholics and Protestants, historically, phenomenal. Catholics focus, of course, on the passion of the Christ, the actual what Jesus did. Conservatives. Protestants focus on the resurrection. This is a blanket review. But you can always tell by going into a Catholic church, Jesus is on the cross. It's called a crucifix. In the Protestants, Jesus is off because the emphasis is resurrection. In Catholics, Catholic Church, we have the Stations of the Cross. Again, it's not, people used to refer to Passion of the Christ as Good Friday the 13th. Focus on this. And if you ever really want to do something, if you are a Christian and you really want to get in touch with this, you got to go to Israel. You've got to go to Jerusalem. Yeah, you have to see the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. This is where Christ died. This is the tomb. The Via Dolorosa, where Christ carried the cross. You got to see Gethsemane. I mean, all of these. This is it. This is it. This is where it happened. And let me tell you something. I want you to listen to me carefully. When you walk into, I've been I've been places. When you go into the Church of the Holy Sepulchre in Jerusalem, and that you see Christ's tomb, this is it. I want to do this one. Church of the Holy Sepulchre. This is Jerusalem. And by the way, there are pilgrimages there all the time. But when you say the Church of Holy Sepulchre, located in the Christian quarter of the old city of Jerusalem, is one of the most sacred sites in Christianity. It is traditionally believed to be the site of both the crucifixion, Calvary or Golgotha, and the tomb of Jesus Christ, where he was buried and later resurrected. That's it. Built in the 4th century AD by Emperor Constantine the Great, after his mother, Saint Helena, identified the site during a pilgrimage, the church has been a focal point of Christian pilgrimage for over 1,600 years. That's there. The church today is shared by several Christian denominations. This is interesting. Greek Orthodox, Roman Catholic, and Armenian Apostolic, and others, each controlling different parts of the building in a fragile arrangement governed by centuries-old agreement known as the status quo. Inside, pilgrims visit the Stone of Anointing, Calvary, not cavalry, and Edicule, Aedicule, which encloses the traditional tomb of Christ. Despite ongoing religious tension, and political conflict in the region, the church remains a symbol of Christian faith and endurance. Let me tell you something. If you want to see something, which, I guess there's no other words other than say, it's just miraculous, or I don't know what the word, the energy, the feeling, the vibes from other people in there. I mean, there are people, some drop to their knees, some are sobbing. I mean, I don't care what you believe. Just the reaction of other people, it is something that's like, wow. When you go into the tomb, you got to duck. You can also put your hand deep. You can feel, remember that story, or not the story, but the portion of the Bible where the lightning hit and cracked open this, you can feel that. This is where the tomb, the cross was, right? You put your hand in it. I mean, this is just, it's unbelievable. Cut Up Chatter says, we Orthodox start with Acts on Saturday at 8 p.m., read till liturgy at midnight. Then we have Sunday liturgy. Then we eat R-O-M, about 1 a.m. till the sun comes up. Our most precious celebration next to August 15th and Christmas. When you say we Orthodox what? Orthodox Christians? Because, by the way, I mentioned this, and thank you for that. There are, when you walk in, there are these, I don't know who they are, the apostolics, the Armenians, I don't know. But there are some guys who are sitting there in full, not cassocks, but in vestments, beards. It looks like something 500 years. I mean, it's another world. Because what you see, Catholic, here's a priest, not over there. No. All of it. And there was a story too of the Protestants saying, can we come in and say, oh, no, this is ours. We were here first. You're later. And I think they called it Calvary. Don't hold me to it. But what I'm saying is that irrespective of what your particular faith is, whether it's Judaism, whether it's Islam, anything, when you see human beings working, whether it's the Hajj, whether it's Passover, and by the way, happy Passover to all our friends, it is something that it fascinates me, because I truly believe there's almost an inherent God gene in us that pulls, not everybody, but pulls millions and millions and billions of people. It's incredible. World population is, let me see, world pop, I think it's 7 billion, right? World pop is, 8 billion. What am I saying? 8. This thing is growing. So this is what I've always found fascinating. And again, you don't have to necessarily believe in it for you to understand how fascinating this is. And I remember growing up and I was very, very happy of this, because my parents were Catholic. I went to Catholic kindergarten, grade school, high school, and had absolutely just the best teachers. The nuns were. So I've always had a very respectful, a very good, a very positive view of religion, of Catholicism. And I knew there were a lot of folks who didn't particularly care for Catholics for whatever reason. And I never understood it. I always said, well, don't be a Catholic. I never understood the notion of true anti-Semitism. And we argue, oh God, are you a Semite? Are the Ashkenazi Jews Semites? They're from European. Okay, all right, whatever. Argue all you want. But the point is, why do I care what you believe? How do I not like you because you're Islam? Or Muslim, I should say. You believe in Islam. How? What do? Or if you're behind, by the way, speaking of which, in Israel, in Haifa, they have the Baha'i. Remember Seals and Crofts? Baha'u'llah? The Baha'i guard, the temple, or the Baha'i, I don't know, I have to look it up. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Okay, we've got that. We've got all these people. I think it's wonderful. I've never felt any. I'm fascinated by why people do things. I remember when I first came to New York, we had, growing up in Florida, we had a couple of Jewish guys, and that was about it. But here, with the Hasidim and the Lubavitchers and and we have the Arabs, and it fascinates me. Fascinates me. I never understood that. I've never understood the collective like or dislike of people, and they like as well. I like the idea of how these stories are interesting, how they are. And by the way, I've always been fascinated with Wiccans, and even if I could find a legitimate Satanist, which I don't think there are any, I'd be interested to find out, well, tell me what you believe in. I'm fascinated. I am irreligious because just like people don't speak French, I don't speak God. But that doesn't mean that I'm not fascinated by how people think. It's not right or wrong or I don't even think anything like that. It's a kind of a ceremonial application that everybody uses to get through life, to have things explained to them. And when something's been around for centuries or thousands of years, I'm not about to come here and say, that doesn't make any sense. First of all, it doesn't matter what I think. And many times we find ourselves saying that we don't agree with something because we know nothing about it. How can I say that I don't believe in something when I know nothing about it? Mad Peace says, give this sawbuck to Mrs. L. May not seem like it, but her work changes so many lives for the better. Absolutely. Even though it's not at the top of the news cycle. Keep saving the children, Lynn. Absolutely. Absolutely. Check out her Twitter or X, whatever, at Lynn's Warriors. You should see what she talks about ChatGPT. Unreal. She's doing, I can't tell you everything that she's doing. It is a constant. She is it. She is the chairman. We have a big event coming. I'm going to let you all know about this. She is just, oh my God, 24/7. It's a calling. And again, I never want to tell you what she does. I'll let her tell you. But I hear it. I know it. And I'm a part of it. And it is beyond anything you've ever seen. So, in any event, what a delightful day we've had. If I could, may I just remind you of a couple of things here, dear friends? First of all, remember this. We have a great group of people, and they've been with us for the longest time. And I want you to do this very, very simply. I want you to do this, and it's a group of people called, where is it? First of all, it is called, just a second. It is called, right here. No, it's not it. Where in the hell is this? Where in the hell is this? Oh, for the love of God. Hang on a minute. That's not it. That's not it. That's not it. Just a minute. Keep talking. Talk amongst yourselves. This is the weirdest thing. Weirdest, strangest. Just a minute. No, that's not it. It's the weirdest thing. I am shocked by this. In any event, I'll just tell you this much. I want you to go to our good friends at mypillow.com. You know, Mike Lindell has been with us from the beginning. And he has been absolutely, positively the best. And he has fought indefatigably, inexorably, without surcease. And he is just incredible. And I'm so glad and so proud to be a part of him and to be a part. And I want you to go to mypillow.com, promo code Lionel, and go, and not only, and I don't want you to go and just, to contribute like it's a charity. Oh, no. It's the best products you can imagine. MyPillow.com, promo code Lionel. MyPillow.com, promo code Lionel. Just check for yourself. I could talk about them all day long, but you have to go to the website itself. So, dear friends, to Mad Peace and Cut Up Chatter, thank you so much. Charlie Calais, Ricardo, thank you. Christian Janice, you have been terrific. I want you to have a wonderful, 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 glorious, glorious day. Later on today, I'm going to be doing a piece. I'm going to be cutting an interview with an old friend of mine. He was a former governor of New York, David Patterson. We're going to be, it's called Left or Right or something. And I guess they think I'm right, whatever. But he's a great guy, but I'm going to eviscerate him kindly. Not him, but the ideas. I'm going to take his ideas and dissect them and before the world. So I'll keep you posted, okay? I'll keep you posted on all this stuff. In any event, have a great and a glorious day, dear friends. Don't ever change. I mean that sincerely. And until we meet again, don't forget, make sure you're subscribed to Lionel Nation. I got a brand new video that will, I think it's already dropped. See? It pays to subscribe. Lionel Nation. All right, my friends. Have a great day and comment as you see fit.